What's going on, internet? It's me, it's the masked man today, and I want to talk about Killer Mike. Killer Mike recently did a little interview that I saw on World Star, and I saw comments of people saying that Killer Mike is a coon. Killer Mike is whatever, and I feel like I wanted to say something on the subject. Now I think people need to stop throwing around allegations, at black people, the minute that they have a disagreement with their ideology. I think that you need to just take the time to hear somebody out. You need to take the time to listen to what they have to say, and you need to consider whether their heart is in the right place before you just go around, throwing labels at them and criticizing them and writing them off. A lot of black people have a lot to offer, even if you disagree with their position, even if you disagree with their approach. You should allow everybody who does their research, who does their due diligence, to have an opportunity to speak, and you need to deal with what they say and not them as a person. So that's what I had to say defending Killer Mike. But I did not like what Killer Mike said. I did not enjoy what Killer Mike said. Killer Mike is a Bernie Sanders supporter. He feels like Bernie Sanders would be good for the country, so he decided to lend his support to Bernie Sanders. The way that Killer Mike feels about Bernie Sanders, I think I probably felt similar about Ron Paul. I feel like Ron Paul would have been, a great thing for America as a whole. I don't know if he would have been great for black folks. There was a scandal where he had some racist newsletters, but he addressed the racist newsletters. It was somebody on his staff that had the racist newsletters. So I think that that if he would have been a major candidate, that he would have had to address that, and he would have had to establish a firm position on where he would stand on race and where he would stand with black people, and he would have to make some promises and some commitments to the black community before he got elected. But for the most part, I felt like Ron Paul would have been a great president. But Ron Paul is out of politics, and his son is not the man that he is. So now Bernie Sanders is kind of taking up that mantle. He's a different man that wants different things, and he has a different skill set than a Ron Paul. But people like him, and people see him as a disruptor. He's kind of in the race for the same reason that Donald Trump is, because people are so upset and removed from the establishment politics. So they want something different. They want something radically different. So that's why Bernie Sanders is getting so much popularity. I have a problem with what Killer Mike said, because I have a problem with Killer Mike comparing Bernie Sanders to Dr. King. I have a problem with Killer Mike mentioning Bernie Sanders in the same sentence as he mentioned John Henry Clark, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Harriet Tubman. I have a problem with that. Why is it when a black person likes somebody white that they have to make them an honorary black person? Why can't a cool white guy just be a cool white guy? Why can't somebody who is good for the country just be a guy that's good for the country? Why he gotta be Dr. King? Why he gotta be Harriet Tubman? Why does he gotta be Malcolm X? I can guarantee you he's not walking in the footsteps of Malcolm X. He's not walking in the footsteps of Martin Luther King, because towards the end of his life, Martin Luther King recognized that he had to do something different to get something for his people, for black people. He had to narrow his focus. And you are lending your support and you are giving him all of these endorsements, comparing him to all of these great black figures, like he's going to be great for black people specifically. And the thing that, even more than that pissed me off about what Killer Mike says is Killer Mike says, if you're pro-black, you must be anti-war. If you're anti-war, you must be pro-marriage rights for everybody. If you're pro-marriage rights for everybody, you must be for women getting equal pay. So now, according to Killer Mike, being pro-black doesn't mean being pro-black. It means being pro-everybody on earth. That's what it means. It just means being pro-everyone. It doesn't have anything to do with black people, apparently. Doesn't have nothing to do with that. It just means anti-war. Gay people can get married and women need to be paid more. Ain't got shit to do with a black person, according to Killer Mike. What the fuck does being pro-black got to do with that bullshit, Mike? What the fuck does it got to do with that bullshit? That's your political persuasion. That's issues that you stand for. Those are things that you care about. Stop attaching that to pro-black and black people. That is your own personal, conviction. Those are things that you are convicted to do. You talk about how you got this great white friend that you call your brother that grew up in Brooklyn. And black people got this thing with white people that they like. That they'll say shit like, this white guy is more black than some of my black friends. He does more for black people. They'll say something along those lines. And Mike didn't say that. But when he was describing his friendship with his bandmate, I felt like that was about to be said. I felt like that was something that he might say. So, Mike, I'm fine with you having, a different political, opinion than, other people. I'm fine with you having a position. I'm fine with you being for gay marriage or for the LGBTQ. I'm fine for you being anti-war. I'm fine for you, wanting equal pay. I'm fine for you wanting whatever you want. I'm fine for you being whoever you want to be. But don't bring the black community in with you. Don't bring us all into your personal opinion. Don't bring us all in. Just speak your convictions. Just speak for yourself. Just speak for you. Because unless you are demanding something for the community, unless you are, you get to speak on behalf of the community if you are demanding something for the whole community. You're not demanding something for the community. You're asking something of the community. You're asking that black people go out and vote for Bernie Sanders and support Bernie Sanders and contribute to his campaign so that he can give. And I wanted to know what Bernie Sanders' platform was specifically for black folks. He wanted tuition-free university, which sounds good, but that's not specifically for black folks. That goes back up to his education plan. He wants tuition-free universities for everybody. If he can, and I have no idea how he's supposed to pay for that, but that's just a part of his overall platform. So not really specifically for black folks. $5.5 billion in youth programs, which sounds like a lot, but black people have a spending power of over $1 trillion. So when you look at how much money we throw away every year, the money that he would be investing in youth programs is laughable. It's a joke. Equal pay for women is in for the racial justice. That's in with us. So women, which had their own separate little thing, and criminal history not being included in the jobs, but that would probably feed back into him wanting everybody's minimum wage raising up to $15 an hour. And then healthcare, which is also probably a part of his larger thing. When I looked at the racial justice blurb and I was skimming it, I didn't give Bernie Sanders the full attention that I should have given it, but I just skimmed it before I made this video. Most of what he had to say about black people was about violence committed against black people. It didn't have anything to do with rehabilitating black people, from the condition that we have found ourselves in. It didn't have anything to do with specifically giving us certain kind of education, specifically giving us certain kinds of privileges, specifically giving us certain kinds of advantages to deal with the deficit that was created against us. So I'm not saying Bernie Sanders is a bad guy. I'm not saying Bernie Sanders would make a bad president. I honestly don't know. I don't know the efficacy of his policies and how they actually work, like how it would be funded. But even if it could be funded, even if it could happen, Bernie Sanders is not doing anything special for black folks. So black folks our name shouldn't be brought up. Our name shouldn't be brought up because there ain't nothing in it specifically for us. Not really. Nothing is specifically for us. He's not for us in particular. So if he's good for the whole country, that's cool. And Killer Mike, if you want to support him because you think he'll be good for the whole country, that's cool. But leave the black community's name out of it if you're not demanding something on behalf of the black community. That was my problem with what Killer Mike said. A lot of black people feel like they have the authority to speak for us all when it comes for us all doing something for somebody else, but not when it has anything to do with us all getting something from somebody else. That was my problem with what Killer Mike said. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about Killer Mike in the video. I'm going to leave the video in the description so that you can see it for yourselves. Let me know what you thought of my interpretation of it. Give me any information you can if you know of anything that Bernie Sanders is going to do specifically for black people. I went to the little website about his platform where he had about 10 different, stacks of things where you can click on it and find what he felt about certain issues. Leave it in the comments. As always, rate the video, like it, dislike it, be honest. Subscribe to my channel. You can send me an email on any story that you would like me to cover. You can email me at Mr. Maskman's Business. That's Maskman's with an S. You can follow me on Twitter at Gmail. You can follow me on Twitter at Mr. Maskman's Business. You can follow me on Facebook as The Maskman. Anyway, that's all I had to say, and I will see you in the next video.